Stagecoach kids! I am so excited to be joined today by the performer, the dancer, the legend, the judge, the author. Shall I carry on? It's the amazing Anton Du Beke.
I like legend.
Legend.
I like
we'll stick with that then, shall we?
We'll go with legend. I like legend.
Legend. There's so much that you do that I don't know how to, put it all into one word. So yeah.
Legend is a good one, though.
Anyway, thank you so much, Anton.
Thank you for having me. I'm delighted to
wonderful.
be here chatting to you. Isn't it fun?
We've just watched you in Panto. It was amazing.
Was it good?
Yeah, my boys laughed all the way through, which was wonderful. Yeah.
Did they get all the jokes, or are you going to have to
Some
explain
of them,
one or two?
Yeah, some of them. I noticed that the two kids in the Panto are Stagecoach kids, which is amazing.
Yes,
and
actually, we have 6 children in the Panto, and we have 2 a night, and they're all Stagecoach children.
Wonderful. And they are super inspired working with you.
Oh, that's nice.
So, on the back of that, we thought we would send some questions in from the other kids. Is that okay?
Perfect.
Brilliant. So let's go with the first question. Sophie and Sam, both of them who are 9, want to know, when and how did you discover your love for performing arts?
Oh, for performing arts. Well, I started sort of dancing. I was a little older than Sophie and Sam. I was about 13, something like that, when I started dancing. I started sort of ballroom dancing, not sort of ballroom, actual ballroom dancing. Ballroom and Latin. You do all of it, and it was. I always loved that sort of what I would call, or we used to call, entertainer, sort of Bruce Forsyth, the sort of Rat Packy sort of on-stage band, singing and dancing, that sort of a Sammy Davis Jr. sort of thing. Fred Astaire was always my hero. Problem is, nobody's ever heard of Fred Astaire anymore, unless you're my age.
I've heard of Fred Astaire.
Fantastic. Gene Kelly, that was really mine.
Another legend.
Another legend. And the legend, really. So they were my inspiration, really. And it was later that I realised I could also get into theatre as well as sort of what we did in the old days, which was competition dancing. So once I'd sort of finished competing, I then was able to transfer into the theatre world and do shows and perform on stage, which is sort of my favourite thing in the world, really.
There you go. So it's never too late, not even to start at 13?
No, do it whenever you like. It's never too late to start.
Yeah.
And it's never too late to find a new challenge.
Yeah, good.
And even if you don't think you're very good at it, it's only practice. Everything's only practice.
Well, that actually leads me nicely on to my next question from Everly. Who's a little girl of ours who's actually currently starring in a panto herself. She's doing her first panto. She's only 8. And Everly asks, do you have any tips on how to learn lots of choreography?
Practice.
There you
Practice, as I say to my children and everybody else.
Yeah.
It's really boring, unfortunately, and there's no exciting trick. There's no exciting sort of thing that you might learn one day that makes it all come much quicker. Sadly, it's just practice.
That's what I tell them, Anton.
And that's all it is. And that's what you do with everything. You work on your technique, you work on all these bits and pieces, and the more you do it, and this is the thing, the more you do it, the easier it becomes.
Absolutely. Everly also wanted to know, how do you use emotions in your dance? How do you put the story across of what you're trying to tell?
That's a tremendous question.
I know, it's good for an 8-year-old, isn't it?
Yeah, amazing, actually, even thinking about that. That's a lovely thing to do, because sometimes you'll watch... So, for example, let me say this. You'll probably have watched Strictly Come Dancing.
Of course, who hasn't?
You'll probably notice that the judges talk about technique a lot.
Yes.
Technique, because technique underpins what you're trying to achieve. It's a bit like a musician. They have a technique, and once they learn their technique, they can then do what they want with the tune. But you've got to be able to do certain things, and dancing is exactly the same. Unless you've got good technique, or you have good enough technique, it's very difficult to do anything else, because it just doesn't look right. But sometimes you get to a moment where, like we have in the Couple's Choice, if you remember Annabelle or Bobby's Couple's Choice, and they were very personal. And then it's all about the emotion. It's all about the story. And it's all about how it makes you feel. And the most important thing is to try and get across, even with great technique, because once you've got great technique, you sort of put it to one side, and then you only work on the emotional attachment to your audience. So that being able to go from the stage to the audience and make them feel what you're trying to express inside. That's the key. Now, that isn't an add-on. That is the dance. So that's what you're trying to do all the time.
All in.
So
Brilliant.
you start with that, really.
And Clara, another one from Clara, who's 11, says, do you prefer being a judge or a dancer?
Well, that depends on who I was going to get as a dancing partner.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
it doesn't really. I prefer being a judge because I get the opportunity to make the final every year, which wasn't guaranteed when I used to dance with a partner.
Yeah.
I love the dancing with the partner bit. I love the professional dancing part because you can be so creative and you can do whatever you want to do and you can make wonderful things and great stories and you can do whatever you want. You can comedy, you can do slapstick, you can do emotional, you can do just sort of what I would call pure, something really pure, what it is.
Yeah.
And those, you can't do that as a judge. I sit there and I go, well done, you were amazing. Yeah. But I do love it because I am part of the whole story.
Yeah.
So they're very different. They're very different.
You see the whole journey, don't you, as a
judge?
You know, you see
and
it through.
I'm able to help a little bit. Whether they listen to me or not, it's up to them, but I feel like I'm helping.
Yeah, good. Another popular question from Phoebe, who was 7, and Matilda, who was 5. Who was your favourite couple on Strictly this year?
This year?
Are you allowed to say?
I can't. Well, I don't really have a favourite, actually. I like them all for different reasons. I thought Angela Rippon was incredible. I liked Angela Scanlon, a couple of her dances. Her tango and her Charleston were brilliant. So I have sort of favourite moments rather than just a favourite couple.
Nice.
Okay. Ellie and Vito were brilliant, Leighton and Nikki. Yeah, I mean, they were all great. Annabelle, I thought, was joyous. Annabelle, I thought, had the best journey.
Yes.
For me. And I know we talk about journey, but I thought Annabelle had the best journey from tennis player to dancer.
Yes.
You know, this she's a lady in her 50s, is she?
Yeah.
Difficult, you know, and I know what it's like. I've danced with a number of them.
Yeah.
And to become what she became, I thought was extraordinary.
Agreed, yeah. From Hannah, who's 12, which dance style do you find the most difficult to judge and why? Or is there one?
Well, that's very interesting, actually, because it's sometimes when you get a dance style that is all about taste, your own personal taste. So sometimes the contemporary stuff or the commercial stuff can be a little bit about personal preference.
Yeah.
That becomes a bit tricky because it's just what I like.
Yeah.
And you might disagree with me.
Yeah.
You might go, well, actually, I quite liked it.
Yeah.
And the judges do disagree with things.
Yeah.
We do go, I didn't love that. And the other judges go, well, you're talking about, we loved it. And you go, well, I didn't love it.
And that's the beauty of performing, isn't it?
Well,
that
that's
it's so
performing.
subjective.
It is so subjective. That's why you should never worry too much. I always give people, I always say to people, do your best.
Yeah.
Believe that you've done your best. No, you only know whether you've done your best. You're the only one who really knows.
Yeah.
I could say to you, oh, I did my best.
Yeah.
But inside you go, I didn't.
Yeah.
But if you've done your best, that's all there is.
Yeah.
That's literally all there is. I can't do any better. I have no more to give.
Yeah.
I might become better, and I will strive to be better, but I've done my best.
Yeah.
That's all you can do. And after that, the rest of it's out of your control.
Yeah.
You hope people like it.
Yeah. Great advice. Here's a good one from Phoebe, who's 14, who is a huge fan of yours. She's coming to see the show herself soon,
Tremendous.
so I'm sure she'll be at the stage door waiting for you.
Tremendous.
Phoebe says, what's the most important thing you can do to improve your line in ballroom dancing? And also, will you dance with me?
Yes, and well, do you know, line in ballroom dancing is, I talk about line a lot, and it means different things to different people. It can be your general direction, the way you move in a very positive way. It can be literally an aesthetic line that you produce just through poise. I mean, a simple sort of line through poise and posture is, I think, vitally important. Because if that's not right, so an old teacher said to me once years ago, he said, it's very easy as dancing, Malaka, you've got to move well and you've got to look good. And he wasn't talking about you've got to look pretty or your hair's nice. He wasn't talking about that. He was talking about beautiful line and how you look when you stand. And so it's very simple, really. You just got to stand nicely.
Yeah.
Of course, within that, there's 1,000 complexities.
Yeah.
But the line is, I've spoken a lot this year, funny enough, on Strictly Come Dancing, to give you an example. We had a lot of bad lines because of the lady's head position.
That's probably why she's asking.
It was all
she's a fan.
turned too much.
Yeah.
So we end up turned too far to the left, because everyone goes, you must be left, you must be left. So what we mean is, when we dance ballroom dancing, we stand in front of each other, but we don't stand directly in front of each other. We are what we call offset. So we're just slightly offset. So it's right front. So if I wear a tie, which I always invariably wear a tie, it's that part of my body. That belongs to you. So you attach to that with your right front. It's not right side, it's right front. And this side is open. So this is for the audience, this is for my partner, this bit. Now, we are left of each other here. So I'm to the left, you're to the left. Now, if I turn, what happens is we actually spin into each other. So that gives us a terrible line. So what we have to do is sway. Now, sway is, just think of a tree, you're just swaying in the breeze. So everything is a continuous line. So your head is a continuous line of your spine. So it don't have a funny angle at the top. It's like your hand. Craig would go mad if you have a funny wrist. A big display down. You have that continuous line through. And it's all that. You must have a continuous line all the way through, so that the line continues from you out into the space. And even with the leg, and suddenly a sickled foot, everyone goes, oh, nasty. You have that lovely, and the line goes on.
There you go. Couldn't have answered
Makes you
it
look
better.
8 foot tall.
Yeah.
But of course you are 8 foot tall.
So another one from Catherine, who's 5, and also Isla, who's 12. What is your favourite dance move? Have you got any favourite dance moves that you do within ballroom? Or
A particular move, I tell you what I do, I love having a partner in hold, like that, taking hold with a partner and just moving across the floor. I love it. My favourite dance is a slow foxtrot.
Yes.
My favourite dance sort of on Strictly to perform is always the American Smooth.
Oh,
and when I'm
okay.
on stage, I love doing American Smooth because it's a bit jazzy, it's a bit ballroomy, it's a bit Fred and Ginge, it's a few lifts. I love that.
She also says, can my mummy have your autograph? She loves you.
Yes.
So there you go.
And I love her. Don't tell your father.
Yeah. Another one from Bella, who's 6, and Ava, who's 8. She says, well, they say, do you still get nervous before going out on stage? And if so, how do you deal with that?
Well, I don't get too nervous. I get sort of a little excited.
Yeah.
But I don't get really nervous. Nerves are a good thing. Let me tell you. And don't be frightened of nerves. I know people who have been so nervous they've been rigid with fear.
Yeah.
If you give in to the nerves, it can be debilitating. But if you can embrace the nerves, it can spur you on. I still, to this moment, have that moment where I'm standing on the wings. If I'm about to sing a song, for example, I'm standing on the wings and I can't remember what the lyrics are.
Yeah.
I'm in the wings and the tune's about to start. I can't remember a word. And then when I walk on, it suddenly comes to me.
It all comes.
And it all comes, and out you go, and you go, marvellous.
Yeah.
That can be a bit, ooh!
What's
So,
next?
but really, if you've rehearsed properly,
Yeah.
if you rehearse properly and you know your thing, and everybody around you's, then you'll be okay.
So that
the nerves will be fine.
So that goes back to what we say, rehearse, rehearse, rehearse.
Rehearse, rehearse, rehearse. But rehearse as you're going to perform it.
Oh, okay.
Don't mark rehearse.
Yeah.
Because it's always different when you put energy in.
Yeah, okay, fine.
So when you rehearse, full out.
Yeah.
Turn away from the mirrors.
Yes. Yeah.
Disaster for me.
Yeah, excellent.
I'm too much for the mirrors. I love a mirror. So
Don't we all?
I love a mirror. So I have to look away and go to the wall. And once I start looking at the wall, then I know whether I know it or
Yes.
not. And invariably I don't.
Absolutely. And Dexter, who's 7, bit of a different angle. My mum loves your books. How do you manage to do so much? How can you do it all? How can you be it all?
Well, it's lovely because I enjoy the books. What I do is I narrate the story to somebody who taps it out on the computer and writes it up. But really, it's just they say write about what you know. So all the characters in the first novel were just characters that so my old teachers used to talk about these wonderful characters from back in the day, and I found them fascinating, and they conjured up these images, And it's sort of a bit of a life experience, really. It's like the story of my life without it being an autobiography, really.
Yeah.
And it was set in the 30s, the original book, and now the story is sort of carried on like a continuing saga.
Yeah.
So the characters are real for me, and I just, the story moves on. So it's a continuing saga for me, and I love that. So I enjoy it enormously.
And did you find that transition kind of easy from storytelling in dance to storytelling on paper? Was that
Not
a
really,
seamless
because
thing?
for me, structurally, it remains the same.
Right.
So the technique is different. I mean, the
Yeah.
technical side of it is different. And I've got a wonderful chap who taps away, and he looks after that side for me. But the structural part of it remains, it's just one's bit longer than the other.
Yeah.
And you can go into more detail with the words, but essentially, as a question from earlier, the emotion remains the same. So we're going to use an expression, it's quite booky. The narrative arc remains the same. So if you're choreographing a piece of dance, you'll want some sort of narrative arc. If you think about ballet, for example, there's a narrative arc that runs through, a narrative that runs through the piece. And that's the same as a novel, really. Just one has words, one has movement.
Yeah, awesome. And a slightly older question now from one of our girls who's sort of thinking about whether she wants to make this her career, possibly.
Yeah.
She says, when you get to an audition, how do you make sure that you stand out for the right reasons? Is there anything you've done or you've seen that's a really positive impact in an audition situation?
It's very simple to immediately get rejected. I see a lot of people that walk into a studio. I almost want to say to them, no, stop, on you go. Not here, not today, not for you.
Not your turn.
Not you, not you, not you. Because their attitude is all wrong.
Okay.
They sort of, they don't, and it can grind you down. Auditioning there's nothing fun about auditioning. There's nothing glamorous about auditioning. And it's hard, but that's the legwork.
Yeah.
And then eventually you get into a position where people ask you to be in their shows as opposed to you auditioning for them.
Yeah.
But even, good people, great people who have been working a long time still have to audition. But just be you, be prompt, smart, good.
Yeah.
Do all the things that you would expect.
Yeah.
So put yourself in the position of the auditioners.
Okay.
Think about it from their perspective. What do you think they'd like to see?
Yeah.
You don't see somebody who comes in and just
Yeah.
a bit too cool for school and a
Yeah.
bit above it, and it might be a facade, I don't know, but
Yeah.
I see people like coming in and you go, no.
Yeah, that's great advice. So remember that be as nice a person off the stage as you are on the stage.
Yeah, but also this is professional work.
Yeah.
Be professional
Yes.
at all time.
Yeah, good.
Just be amazing.
Yeah, just generally be great.
Just generally be amazing.
Yeah.
I only want amazing people in my shows.
Yeah.
Come in and
There
be
you go.
amazing.
There you go. Amelie, who's 15, she says, what's one thing that you would advise young performers to do to prepare for any challenges in this career? So anything that's hard, anything that's difficult that's going to come up, is there any advice you can give them to?
Let me tell you this. I don't want to put a downer on it. It's brilliant what we do, this business we call show. It's brilliant. But it is grim at times.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Schlepping. My advice to you is learn to drive. Learn to drive.
Yeah.
People who don't drive, I don't understand what they're doing in this business. Public transport is not going to be the answer.
Yeah.
When you're in Skegness
Yeah.
Theatre on a Sunday evening, the trains have been cancelled in November. No.
Yeah.
Learn to drive.
Yeah.
Independence. Have your independence.
Yeah.
And be organised. This is vitally important. Look after your money.
Yeah.
And all these sort of life skills, really, because it will run out quickly. It is brilliant, though, because when you're on stage and you've got a great company and you're working with wonderful people and you're doing beautiful things, and it's just brilliant.
Yeah.
Embrace it, enjoy it, love it,
Yeah.
because you won't love it. There'll be times where you're going to be hating it, but know that you actually love this. This is great, because otherwise you can get ground down. And if you get around negative people, move on.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of them. Leave them. Move away from them.
Yeah,
because
that's a
they're
great
of
bit
no
of advice.
help.
Yeah, that's
They're
a
of
great
no help
bit.
to you. Because it's brilliant.
Yeah.
What we do. Look at this.
Yeah, I know, it's brilliant. That's a really solid bit of advice. I like that.
It's a bit lifey and a bit old sort of school life
No, I like
advice.
that, though.
But it
Yeah.
is, every job every glamorous job has its down bits, you know, that aren't so glamorous.
Yeah.
And show business is no different. But when you're on stage,
Yeah, makes it all worth it.
God, I love it.
And Mitch, who's 17, says, is there anything in your career that you are still hoping to achieve? Is there anything you haven't done yet that you're desperate to do?
I want to make a movie.
Do you? You heard it here, everyone. Anton wants to make a movie.
I love doing what I'm doing, and I want to do more of what I'm doing, and I want to do it bigger and better. I'm always about making whatever I do better. Mm-hmm. Just, you know, you've never cracked it. You've never done everything you wanted to do. There's always something else to do, because it's so brilliant. So every new adventure is exciting or more exciting than the last one.
Awesome.
And I love it.
Ooh, an Anton movie, I can't wait.
Could you imagine me in a movie?
Yes,
I'd be
could.
unbearable.
You know, you would be brilliant. Okay, this is the last one.
Oh!
It's a bit of a lifey one. It's a bit of a deep one. Ella, who's 11.
Hi, Ella.
Yeah, who's working really hard with us, says, Anton, what effect would you say that dancing has had on you and your life?
Well, it's changed my life. It's made me what I am today. It's given me the opportunity to sit here and talk to you and answer these wonderful questions. I'm very lucky, really. I sort of feel like I've had two careers. Again, you won't know about Fred Astaire too much, but Fred Astaire, my great hero, had sort of, I always think about him having two careers. He was sort of a child star and pre the movie business, and he danced with his sister. And he was a child star, and he went into sort of musical theatre, and he was a massive, started off music hall, vaudeville, into musical theatre star. Yeah. And then his sister went and got married, and he was on his own, and then suddenly movies started. And he had a great friend called George Gershwin, who was a struggling songwriter. Yeah. Hilariously. And George started, George, my pal, started writing music for these movies and got him into an audition in this music world, in this film world. Anyway, his first ever audition, this is Fred Astaire, and the first audition, famously, on the notes, somebody wrote, can't sing, can't act, can dance a bit. Yeah. This is Fred Astaire. Right. And then he started into the movie, and he became one of the most famous movie actors of all time, and the most famous song and dance man of all time. So he had two careers. He had this musical theatre part, and he had this film part. And I've had sort of a bit similar two careers. I had sort of a competitive ballroom dancing career, and now this sort of television and theatre career as well. And you know, it's I walked into a ballroom when I was 13 years of age, and that defined the rest of my life. So you don't know what's around the corner, do you? Yeah. You don't know what's going to happen. You go into a room, your life could change. I didn't know it was going to change at the time, but it turns out it has. It's changed my entire life, and which has been wonderful. Yeah. The most wonderful. I have the most wonderful time when work with the most wonderful people, and get to do panto. Yeah. And do fabulous things, and get to answer questions from wonderful children from Stagecoach. So I'm a very lucky boy.
Wonderful. Well, we feel very lucky that you've done this for us and that you've taken the time, and your career and you and your energy are so inspiring that I can't wait to share it with the children.
Thank you very much.
So thank you so much. I could talk to you all day.
We should.
Yeah.
Let's do it again.
Yeah, that's why not.
Let's have a part two.
Thank you.
Thank you, my love.